Hi everyone, it's me again, it's Hero of the Streets. Now, I realized that the last video was long, and so I'm gonna try something different here. Essentially, what I'm gonna do is explain the chapter and pretty much break it down into bits that you can understand and just give you the gist of what happened in this chapter. So it's not gonna be a read with me, but I'll still do like with this Tokyo Metropolitan playlist, I'm not gonna do reviews, but I will do reviews on my main stuff for Jujutsu Kaisen. But I'm just gonna give you some background information on this story just to get you guys up to speed. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Let me know in the comments, and it'd be great again as usual if you can like and subscribe. So yeah, let me get started. So we pick up with a classification for Rika, and we realize that she is actually a special class high vengeful curse. And in the last chapter, she actually manifested for 422 seconds, which is like a little bit below, a little bit above 5 minutes actually. So, because like 5 times 60 is 300. Yeah, yeah, a little bit above. So I reckon, to be honest, like 7 minutes. Yeah, 7 minutes and 2 seconds, 422. And she could actually destroy the whole town. So the thing is, the higher ups are trusted Yuta to Gojo to make sure this sort of destruction does not happen. But unfortunately, Rika is fairly unknown and quite powerful given the fact that she has no ties to the sorcerer world, which makes her very suspicious. And Gojo gotta do trial and error to see what Rika is capable of and its limitations. Now, the higher ups even remind Gojo that Yuta's execution is on hold, but Gojo said straight up that he will side with Yuta if he gotta die and believes that a kid's youth should never be stolen away. He believes that it's very unforgivable, and it actually makes me think, maybe Gojo may have had a very rough childhood, seeing as he got the six eyes and the infinity technique, and that's pretty rare apparently, but we don't have that much background and backstory as to why that's so rare and why the six eyes are so special. So far, we've only seen what the sort of infinity technique can do, but we don't know what the six eyes can grant. But we do know that he does cover his eyes day to day. I don't really understand that part, to be very honest with you, but yeah, and he finds that unforgivable. So I reckon like he was treated like a sort of super soldier as a youth, and he never really got to have fun with his friends, play football or do knock down ginger and all that sort of nonsense. So yeah, that's what I think. So we have a little bit of a brief flashback where Gojo's talking to Yuta about Rika and how Rika's very large to dispel easily. Not saying it's impossible, but it's very hard to do. But he also does stress that it's still possible to undo her curse. So rather than dispel it, which is essentially get rid of it, I guess undoing is like the nice way of reversing it, let's say, for lack of a better term. Please educate me. I do not mind. Um, so as the cursed individual, he got to be the one who would undo the knots of cursed power one by one. So essentially, think of it like, if any of you guys have played any sort of RPG, like let's say God of War for example, like it's a boss battle and it's a big boss, but like you're just a little youth, so it's like David versus Goliath. So you can't just scrap the boss like any other person, but you have to go for the key areas. So like God of War pretty much has a lot of that. If I remember correctly, a famous boss battle would be Kratos versus Kronos, where you're trying to break like those blue shields, that blue material. And no, I think I'm mixing that with Darksiders, but that's the same idea. Essentially, you gotta target those key areas to bring down the big beast. That's how it works. So yeah, now Gojo continues to say that curses are more stable when they attach to something. So he draws back on the fact that Yuta actually connected Rika to the ring last time and channeled Rika through that, but obviously seeing as he's going to be part of the college and living life and doing all of this, he got to, if anything, use the sword because that way he's more combat efficient and he can just move like that. So he got to train with arguably the best girl in the verse, Maki. Now we're back in present day, and what we see that he is actually 3 months in, and he's fairly capable at this stage, but Maki is just too sick and just beats him while sparring. It's not the first time, ain't gonna be the last. Funny thing though is that Panda, Food Dude, you know who I'm talking about, I forget his name, and Gojo clocked that Yuta's coming out of the show a little bit, and with that, Panda clocks that Maki has actually found someone to spar with. So he's like, hold up, hold up, hold up. Wait, we can make something happen here. So he's like, calling you, like, yo, you, come through like it's a red alert. And he asks one of the famous lad questions. I'm just going to leave it at that. But from his answer, Panda's like, yo, Maki, you're still in the game. So now Gojo actually gathers everyone around for an assignment. And what happens is that Inumaki is actually the Fudu's name, so it's like Toge Inumaki. He's the only second class sorcerer in first year and can actually take solo missions. So he's an assigned a mission, obviously, to do what he got to do with, but he also has Yuta there to shadow him and learn. Unfortunately, there is a clear language barrier. That's why I call him Fudu because yeah, he don't say no words anyway. And Inumaki generally scares Yuta just cause. Now, although Gojo doesn't even rate the higher ups, he still has to warn Yuta about summoning Rika because he still lacks control. He's still training, he's still learning. And if he does, both Yuta and Gojo will get clapped by the higher ups. Now, once Toge and Yuta arrive at their destination, they get briefed by that Donnie with the glasses. His name is Ijika Kiyotaka, the same guy who was driving Gojo before Jogo attacked. And now, essentially, the situation is that there's a flock of low-grade curses for Toge to exercise, and it sounds like light work. Now, one thing to actually remember is that Toge buys throat medicine before the curtain falls, and once fallen, Toge pretty much deletes the flock of curses in one shot. But it does take a toll on his throat and his voice, hence the medicine. Now, I was reading the chapter, yeah, and one funny thing that happens is that you see a smile pop up on the page, and back to the story, they clock that the curtain hasn't raised yet. And when they realize this, a new curse appears, and it looks like it got moves like Fujitora from One Piece, where the holes are created by a force from above. Now, I'm not saying it's gravity or whatever, but yeah, you get the idea. So now this curse is actually much more powerful, even more than the one at the school, as Toge is coughing up blood at the cost of breaking its arm, and Yuta had to save him and retreat, leaving behind the medicine. After licking their wounds, they go for round two with Yuta as vanguard. Funny enough, just knowing that Rika is about sets this curse on edge, and Yuta is oblivious to this. He got no clue. Now Yuta's ready to fight, and he ain't no scrub, like he ain't no slouch. He even gets a hit in, and while he was fighting, he was like, "Yo, Toge is a sound dude." Now Yuta is nimble enough to actually slide and catch the medicine, and it's a turnover. He does the famous alley-oop play to Toge. Toge catches it midair and says, "Get crushed," and the curse is deleted. Now, once they're done, you see that the person behind the smile was Ghetto, and I'm pretty sure that the curse that is with him is Toji Zenin's curse, which I like to call the smuggler curse. Now, back at the school, it's a little catch up where Panda briefly goes through Toge's rough childhood, seen as words of power. So, essentially, when he says do X or do Y or fight, I don't even know what you could say, but basically, people got hurt from him just trying to make casual conversation. That's why he talks about food, because the food doesn't mean anything essentially. So now Maki pops up and Panda's like, "Yo, is that you? Yeah." And Maki's getting vexed, but Yuta, again being oblivious, ends up asking Maki for guidance for when it comes to adding curse power to his sword. And Maki shuts that down like, "Nah, I ain't the one to ask still." Now, back at HQ, Ijika is speaking to Gojo, and he realizes that a quasi first class curse was dropped above his curtain. And Gojo clocks that it's that wasteman Ghetto. I mean, who smiles like this? Like, man sitting hella comfy after dropping 100 bodies and being a college dropout. It's probably because of the cult he leads now. But yeah, Ghetto's just a waste man, and this is before the curse takes over his body. But yeah, that's me done pretty much talking about chapter two of Tokyo Metropolitan Magical Technical School. That's a long name. Oh yeah, I did say I was gonna call it Jujutsu Kaisen prequel. So yeah, we're gonna run with that. But yeah, let me know what you think. Please click a like. You know, it'd be great. I like to grow this channel to as much as as far as I can, and let everyone hear my voice and hear my slang. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell. Adios.